Okay, what makes Massachusetts slightly different than even some of our neighboring states to the north and the south that are part of New England when it comes to buying a house, right? What are the subtle differences that I've noticed? I'm licensed in each New England state, minus Connecticut, and then also Florida. And the biggest difference to me is the involvement of attorneys during most of the process. I recommend to a lot of clients up front when they're even thinking about making offers with agents, start rolling the attorney in early, right? Start asking questions and understanding the contract. And we have two contracts in Massachusetts. We have the offer and then we have the purchase and sale. And although they're pretty similar, there is some pretty decent differences there in terms of, what both parties are expecting of what the upfront negotiation looks like, and then the period between offer and purchase and sale, and then what ripples over to the purchase and sale. And there's expectations there that you want to make sure that you have a good alignment with your agent and your attorney about. And then that's where deals can usually sometimes fall apart, is if either side of the fence has a off expectation of what the ripple effect from offer to purchase and sale is, right? For example, a buyer making an offer on a house that doesn't have a home sale contingency and says, "Hey, I want to buy your house and I don't have anything to sell. I'm good to go. Here's my offer." But then all of a sudden the purchase and sale comes over to the seller, drafted by the buyer agent, not by the buyer agent, by the buyer attorney, the review, and sends it to them and says, "Hey, now all of a sudden there's a home sale contingency," right? Like that's not really something that can carry forward. So that's the only big difference in my viewpoint from a lot of other states, right? I know there's obviously subtle differences market wise and state legality wise, but I think the big one really is that we have two contracts and the attorneys involved earlier in the process, and or some states attorneys aren't even really involved at all unless they need to be. They just have title agents that just help with the closing. Massachusetts is an attorney state. You need the attorney to do the closing. So because of that, it makes sense for them to get involved up front anyway. And then the layer of the fact that we have two contracts of an offer and a purchase and sale, and one is smaller than the other, and the other has, more detail to it, and the expectations of what carries forward and what doesn't, because the purchase and sale supersedes the offer from a contract standpoint. That is the messy part, right? Like I've seen tense deals where, you know, things needed to change for whatever reason from offer to purchase and sale for, the buyer figured out something and they want to do less down on, their mortgage, and that's making the seller feel nervous now because now they're like, "Hey, you're changing terms while you're doing that to me." Like that doesn't exist in other states, right? Like you make your offer and you make your offer and it's pretty much your contract in a lot of states. So that's the big difference in Massachusetts is talk to an attorney earlier, get familiar with the two contracts and have a good understanding of what that flow looks like, because I'm a big proponent of just preparation always prevents poor performance, right? Like if you can have a good understanding up front of all the areas to a degree or another that you're not taking it too far and you're taking days off from work and just reading contracts, right? So like you just have a good basic foundation of this is the Massachusetts offer template. What does that mean? This is the Massachusetts purchase and sale template. What does that mean? What is the flow over? The better understanding you have of that flow as a buyer and a seller just makes the process less gummy, right? As you're talking to your agent, as you're talking to your attorney, and you're signing multiple contracts and you're reading things and trying to figure out, well, which one applies to me and which one applies to the seller. But like just a basic understanding of just knowing that that's the flow and that there is two contracts is the biggest difference between us and most other states.